What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. This is the one, baby. This is the one we've all been yelling about. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a coffee in hand. I hope you're kicking back, relaxing. We are, in fact, doing the Storm Elemental video. We're going to talk about it. It's finally working for me. For context, okay, let me get some things out of the way right off the start. Number one, I've never hated Storm Elemental. Ever. It's good. I just don't like that Elemental has had to play Storm Elemental for like 5 years straight. That's what I don't like. I just want there to be some new blood, some new builds, something else to do besides Storm Ele. That being said, that's why I'm into these fire builds, and I think the fire builds are really strong actually in Mythic Plus. I think they're going to be perfectly fine. I think they're also good in Raid, but we're mostly talking about Mythic Plus. But today we're finally going to get to test Storm Elemental. It's been bugged on the PTR for a long time, until about 2 days ago. I think I finally jumped on and tried it out again, and it worked for me. So maybe it's been working for like a week or something. I don't know, but I haven't noticed until now. So we're going to try it out. The tier set bonus did not used to interact with Storm Elemental, and I just sort of thought for a while that Blizzard intended for this to be the way it is, because the tier set bonus, of course, extends Storm Elemental, which could be kind of bonkers if you understand what Storm Elemental does. So, but I was wrong. That was not their intent. Their intent was for this to be possible, for you to be able to extend this indefinitely. And in fact, with a couple of the different builds that you can run, you can have a permanent Storm Ele. You actually can. So, buckle up. We're going to get into this. Let me get my notes going here. We are going to take Storm Ele, and we're going to take Earth and Rage. We're obviously dumping Echo the Elements because we're not pressing Lava Burst as much. We are going to weave in our Lava Burst, and this is a really important thing I need to get out of the way first of all. Let me just say, the first build we're going to test is Night Fae plus the Earthquake Legendary, which is the current way that most people play Elemental Shaman. They go Storm Ele, and they have the Earthquake Legendary, and they do lots of damage with their Earthquakes, right? In 9.2, we get double Legendary, so now we also have access to this. Each pulse of Fae Transfusion's damage reduces the cooldown of Fire Elemental / Storm Elemental. It works for Storm Elemental. And increases your crit by 4% for 15 seconds. That's 24% crit for 15 seconds. So, on the opener, this initial build that we're going to test with Night Fae basically has a low cooldown Storm Elemental that is not permanent. Okay, let me repeat that. The Night Fae build that you're currently running on live servers, if you want to bring it into 9.2, you do not get permanent Storm Elemental, but you do get a very low cooldown Storm Elemental that matches roughly the Fae Transfusion cooldown. So you're going to press Storm Elemental on pull, and then you're going to Fae Transfuse to immediately get the cooldown of Storm Elemental to come down. And then, because of the tier set bonus, you can extend your Storm Elemental a little bit. Storm Elemental, I can't talk. A little bit. And if your Storm Elemental goes off cooldown, then your Lava Bursts have a 20% chance to reduce the remaining cooldown by 10 seconds. So that's an important part of this. It helps to bring the Storm Elemental cooldown back to within the Fae Transfusion cooldown window. And I'm going to try to show you that here. But this build, this Night Fae build, does not have a permanent Storm Elemental unless all you're going to do is press Lava Burst, which in AoE you're not going to do, right? Obviously, the point of Storm Elemental is to get the cooldown, the cast time speed on Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning Bolt. So this build is interesting to me. I don't think it's the best build. I think it's going to be fine moving into 9.2, but I don't think it's the best one. I think the best one's going to be Venthyr plus Storm Ele. Okay, and it's going to be really cool once we get there. But let me just show you this build first, and then we'll move over to the Skybreakers build with Venthyr. Let me just show you kind of the damage here. For context, I realized I didn't have good weapons on. I had like 230 weapons on before, so now I finally upgraded my weapons. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Storm Ele, and then you're going to move into Fae Transfusion. We'll start with Stormkeeper, obviously, just to get it on cooldown. But Stormkeeper into Storm Ele, into Fae Transfusion, and then we'll do the combo, okay? So Stormkeeper, we go Storm Ele into Fae Transfusion. I'm going to wait for him to get juice, then I'm going to press his ability. Okay, then we're going to do this into a shock, into an earthquake, right? That's what we do. Now, we don't have any, we're getting, obviously, Lava Burst procs, but we don't really want to spend them because we're in AoE. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what this is like if you don't press your Lava Burst. Very important to understand what's happening here if you're not pressing your Lava Burst. We're not going to get an infinite Ele. That's what I kind of want to say. I don't know. I mean, you can weave them in if you want to when you get Lava Surge procs for mobility. A lot of you guys were saying, right, like that. But generally speaking, you want to be taking advantage of this crazy cooldown reduction we're getting. So the Ele's going to drop in a second here. There he goes. Okay, Ele's gone. He's got a 56-second cooldown. Now watch this. If we cast Lava Burst, we should get a reduction. Well, we're fishing for a reduction. We might not get it. We're not guaranteed to get it. Gonna do this into this. We're gonna cast it again. Try to get a reduction here. We want this to line up with our Fae Transfusion, right? That's what I kind of want to do in my head. So I'm gonna weave in any Lava Surge procs I get. Okay. In between the other stuff that I'm doing. Fae Transfusion's coming back. We're trying to get this to line up. 24 seconds on it. Let's just give it like one more second here. Okay, one more Lava Burst. See if we can line it up. Good, we got it. Because you don't want to just press your Fae Transfusion because it reduces the cooldown of your Ele. You want to make sure you cast your Ele first. So here comes the Ele. He's out. Now we can Fae Transfuse. He's going to juice himself. We'll give him the buff. Now we go again. Do you see what my problem was back there? I just messed that up. I already had that buff. My problem was that if I pressed Fae Transfusion with like 15 seconds left on my Storm Elemental, well, then I'm gonna waste all the cooldown reduction that I'm getting from the Night Fae, from all the Night Fae, right? Reduces the cooldown of your Ele by 6 seconds per tick. That's like 36 seconds of cooldown I would have wasted. So I think that you need to be really careful with this build. It's kind of awkward. It has these awkward moments where like you want to press Fae Transfusion because it's back, but your Ele's not back yet. And the way to get your Ele back is to press Lava Burst. Like our Ele's gone again. So let's watch this one more time. I'm going to try and explain this one more time. I'm going to try and press Lava Burst to cool down my Ele. There's a 20% chance. Right? Oh, we got a combo there. Okay. Here we go. Chain Lightning. I got a Lava Surge proc. I'm going to press it. Watch my Ele. Didn't get the proc. So we're getting unlucky here, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Keep trying once we get the Lava Surge proc. Waiting for it. Waiting for Lava Surge to come back. Our Fae Transfusion's almost back. And our Ele's close. Let's try just a regular Lava Burst to get the cooldown back. Okay, we didn't get it. So our Fae Transfusion's back. Okay, so we're gonna one more Lava Burst. We didn't get it. So I think we need to wait. See what I'm saying here? I think okay, we got him back. Now we can press him. And then we can Fae Transfuse. Wait for him to juice himself. And we go. Do this, into this, to this. So, my point here is simply to say that there's some awkward moments because you're not getting, they're not lining up perfectly. And in fact, it's worse than that. It's worse than them not lining up perfectly. It's worse because your Storm Elemental has like 20 seconds left and your Fae Transfusion comes back. Pressing Fae Transfusion with 20 seconds left on your Storm Ele is going to waste some of the benefit of this here, right? 6 times 6 is 36 seconds. That's almost 40 seconds of cooldown. You're wasting like 16 of those seconds if you press it early. So like, maybe that doesn't matter to some of you guys. Like maybe I'm overthinking this, but I want to highlight that there's an awkward moment there with this build. Now, is it bad damage? I don't think so. No. Certainly the upfront burst that you're going to have when you press Storm Ele into Fae Transfusion into your Stormkeeper window, like right off the bat, tons and tons of damage. It's really great. And you're getting multiple casts of the Storm Elemental, so you're getting multiple casts of Eye of the Storm off. Like it's cool, but you're not getting a permanent Ele, which means that the buff that you're getting from Storm Elemental, you have to reset it, right? You're getting the cast speed reduction on Chain Lightning. You're getting it in like 45, 50 seconds in, it falls off. And then you have to like wait for a minute, get your next Storm Elemental out. Then you have to start the buff chain all over again, which is kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of annoying to have to do that. So That's the frustration in AoE. Now, on single target, I'm going to show you this build on single target as well, and I'm going to show the Venthyr build on single target. On single target, I think this build is going to be fantastic because you are going to be pressing Lava Burst whenever it comes off, and you're going to be doing Lightning Bolt into Lava Burst, but the Lava Bursts are going to be extending your Storm Elemental. So watch this. This, I think, will get you a permanent Storm Elemental. So let's start with the same thing. Stormkeeper into Ele into Fae. Okay, everybody ready? Stormkeeper into Ele, into Fae. Let him do his thing. Then we juice him. Then we're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to get one Flame Shock out. I shouldn't have cast Lava Burst. I'm really sorry. We need to only cast the Lava Surge Lava Burst. So we do Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt into a Lava Burst because we got the proc. It's extending Storm Elemental. That's very important now. We're going to use our Earthquake buff. Oh, we got another one. Let's go here. Lava Surge proc. We're going to press it. Always press your Lava Surge procs now. Very important. Earthquake. We're doing like... Okay, Lava Surge. See our Lightning Bolts going. Oh, sorry. We are extending. We're extending. We're extending. Look at how fast this gets. It's just crazy. I forgot about how crazy this was. It's pretty cool. Okay, our second cast of Eye of the Storm. He hasn't gone down yet because we're getting those Lava Surge procs and we're using them. There's another one. He's still going. Okay, another Lava Burst. Lava Burst is so important. He's probably going to fall off soon. Keep it going. There, he fell off. So, we were close to keeping him up just by pressing our Lava Surge procs. Now, what you could do instead is you could invest into a double Lava Burst setup. So he almost came back, right? He'd be back right now, and we press him again, and then you would start the chain all over again. But you want to try and get a permanent Ele. That's the goal, right? If you get the permanent Ele, then your Lightning Bolts are just like ding, 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 back to back to back. So what you could do instead is invest into Echo the Elements on the single target and get rid of Earthen and try it that way. So let's try that really quickly. This video is going to be super long, but I think it's worth investing the time to look at all these options, right? Like, let's explore this fully. So now we have the choice of a couple of... We can press Lava Burst a little bit more often, maybe. I think it's worth it for us to do that, to try and see if we can keep this Ele up permanently. Because if we can, the boost to our Lightning Bolt is so good. We just need to get him all the way around the horn so we can cast him again. And then we get an additional 44 seconds on top of whatever duration he has left. Everybody, you following me here? Here we go. Let's go Stormkeeper into Ele, into Fae. Let him do his thing. Okay, and we go. Get this out. Okay, we got double Lava Burst. I'm just going to press it. Earth. Oh my god, I keep moving. Why do I keep moving? I keep pressing my button. Sorry about that. Let's press one more Lava Burst. Let's weave in a couple more Lava Bursts here. I know we've got our big lightning buff, and that's cool. Oh, I messed that up so hard. I'm sorry. But let's keep weaving them in. We don't have a Lava Surge. I keep messing that up. I don't have my Flame Shock up. Okay. He's still going. We still have our buff. Keep doing Lava Burst. Lava Burst. Lava Burst. Earth. Lava Burst. Stormkeeper. Okay, he's still going. He's gone. Shoot. So that's really difficult to pull off in single target. Like, you have to invest a lot into the Lava Burst. Like, so you can't take advantage of your window as much. But look at, he's back and Fae Transfusion's back. But we missed the window by like a tiny bit there. So it doesn't quite work. That's the bottom line. I wish it did, but it doesn't quite work in terms of having a permanent Ele up. I don't think. I'm probably not playing it perfectly, but you see the proof of concept there, right? That we're trying to see if we can keep that going, and you just can't really. I mean, we're not even under any duress, right? We're not in a real world situation where the enemies are trying to attack you, or you have to respect boss mechanics, etc. Right? Like, we're just not. It's not a realistic scenario. So that's the build. Excuse me. Obviously, the strengths of this build. Fae Transfusion gives you 24% crit. Huge crits. You get 15 seconds of that buff. Huge crits for our Earthquakes that we're juicing with our Great Sundering Legendary, right? So that's a great, like, in AoE situations, your Earthquake's going to do absolutely crazy damage in AoE. It's just awesome. In single target, we can almost maintain a permanent Ele, certainly longer than we're able to on live servers because of the extension from our tier set bonus, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough to give us a permanent Ele, and in AoE situations, we definitely can't get a permanent Ele because we don't ever really want to press Lava Burst, only when we're getting those Lava Surge procs, right? So that's important to understand. Those are the kind of benefits that you're going to get. In Mythic Plus, the AoE from this is amazing. It's amazing. It's really, really good. You're going to get your strong Earthquakes that you're juicing with your Earthshock from the Legendary, and they're going to be critting because of your Fae Transfusion. On top of that, in an ideal situation, you could fit every Fae Transfusion into a Storm Elemental window. So you press Storm Elemental first, and then Fae Transfuse on top of that. But as you saw multiple times, it was very, very difficult to line both of those cooldowns up perfectly. Like, there was this really awkward moment where I had 20 to 25 seconds left on Storm Elemental, and my Fae Transfusion was up and ready to go. Now, you might say to yourself, well, you're only wasting 16 seconds on Fae Transfusion. You should just press it and just go with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If you want to say that, that's fair. But just know that you are wasting some of the effect that you're gaining there. Okay? So that is the Night Fae plus Echoes of the Great Sundering Earthquake build. That's that there. Not a permanent Storm Elemental, but probably like every other pack, you know, I mean, probably pack to pack actually. If you're getting lucky with your Lava Burst procs and they are reducing the cooldown of Storm Elemental when it's off cooldown, you get that 20% chance to reduce it by 10 seconds. Like, sure, maybe pack to pack you get a brand new Storm Elemental and then you start ramping up that damage again. But the problem is you got to like start from scratch. You're back to square one with the buff that he gives you, so you have to ramp it up again. And by the time you're 5, 6, 7 chain lightnings into the next pack, they're probably close to dead. And this is something I just want to touch on really quickly before we get to the next build. It's really, really important to understand like real world dynamics in the dungeons, right? You pull a pack of 10 mobs and you unload with your Fae Transfusion and your Storm Elemental buffs, and you're doing big, big damage, maybe 30, 35k. I don't know what the number's going to be. It's fantastic damage. It's wonderful. But then the pack dies, and then you move on to the next pack, and then you don't have the same kind of setup. Like, the dummies never die, so I can get a very consistent look at this whole build and to see what it's like. But in a real dungeon, it's not like that. The packs will die. And so then you'll have a lull time where you're not able to cast Lava Burst to extend your elemental. You'll have a lull time where you're not able to capitalize on this buff that you've accrued. Maybe you're 20 stacks into your chain lightning buff and you move to the next pack, and then you cast chain lightning once or twice, then your Ele despawns and you're not able to really utilize the buff. So I do think there's weaknesses with the Earthquake Night Fae build. I think it's going to be strong in Mythic Plus. There's nothing wrong with taking it into Mythic Plus, guys. If you want to run that build in 9.2, it's going to be fine. But I do think there's a better option, and we're going to move forward into Chain Harvest here, into the Venthyr setup. We are going to run Venthyr Skybreakers, okay? I know people are memeing on Skybreakers. They think it's really bad. This thing is really good, and on the Fire Elemental build, you don't even get to utilize the cooldown reduction on your Fire Ele because it doesn't matter. The Fire Ele takes care of his own cooldown reduction because the Flame Shocks last so long with him. They last twice as long, right? So you don't even have to like extend him with Lava Burst to keep him up. But on Storm Elemental, the Flame Shock crits that reduce his cooldown, they don't last as long as the fire one. So when they're up and they're doing their damage, you're getting such an enormous benefit out of them because you're reducing the cooldown of your Storm Ele. And then you might have to fill a couple GCDs with Lava Bursts so you can extend him a little bit until the cooldown of your Storm Elemental comes back, and then boom, you're in business. You can press that button again, and he's permanent. So let me show you how this is going to work. We're going to run basically the same build. On this build, you're going to go Stormkeeper into Chain Harvest into Storm Elemental. Because though you want to get those Flame Shocks out first, and then you're going to press your Storm Elemental 1 GCD later, and then they're going to start critting, and they're going to start reducing the cooldown of Storm Elemental. So this is the permanent Storm Elemental build. This is the goal. I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you that this is not permanent unless you fill with a couple of lava bursts. So pay attention to that. So Stormkeeper into Chain Harvest, into Ele. Okay, we're going to do this. He's got his thing. We're going to go. Oh, I pressed Lava Burst. I'm not going to press Lava Burst. I'm not going to press Lava Burst at all. And you're going to see... Why do I keep moving? Please stop moving. These Flame Shocks are already fading. See that? Because we don't have a Fire Elemental out, which is fine. The buff that we're getting is to our Chain Lightning cast speed, not our Flame Shocks. Chain Harvest is basically back, which we're going to cast it again and get a huge benefit here. Here we go. That's going to start cooling down our Elemental. Look at the Elemental cooldown. He's cooling down. He's cooling down. He's cooling down. We're going to press his ability again. Oh, but he's gone. We had 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Look at those Flame Shock crits. 10 seconds. We were so close to permanent. But we didn't fill with a couple of Lava Bursts, and we didn't fill with a extra Flame Shock. So I'm going to show you how you need to do this to get the permanent Elemental, okay? I just want to make sure we're all really clear about how this works. You can see the damage is good. It's like 17, 18k sustain. I'm not paying attention to my damage. I'm not playing this very well. I'm just trying to show you the proof of concept here. So that is if you don't ever press Lava Burst on an AoE pack, which I know you guys have said, never press Lava Burst on an AoE pack. I get why you don't want to do that. But if you do want to have a permanent Ele, you need to do it a couple of times. I'm saying probably something like 5 to 7 times on an AoE pack. And you absolutely need to refresh one of your Flame Shocks. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? If you want the Ele to be permanent. So let's try this again. Stormkeeper into Chain Harvest into Ele. Boom. Boom. I'm going to cast a Lava Surge Flame Shock that I got. I'm going to cast it again. Lava Surge, Lava Burst. I'm going to cast 2 or 3 of them. Let's get to 5. Here's my third one. 3. Fourth one. I'm going to put a Flame Shock out and do my 5th Lava Burst, and that's it. I'm done doing Lava Bursts. I'm all done. We're just going to go back to AoE now. I'm not even going to consume my Lava Surge proc, just to show you how this works. Look at this. We got Chain Harvest back quicker than last time. Important to see that. We've extended our Ele by probably 7 or 8 seconds. And look at his cooldown go now, because we got our Flame Shocks back out quicker than last time. Oh, I didn't press his ability. I'm so sorry. So we got to press his ability. He's still up. He's still up right now. He's still up. We're going to press him. There, we refreshed him. See that? He's up. We're good. Now, we have our Chain Lightning buff. We're going to go back into Chain Harvest. Our Chain Lightning is crazy fast, right? We're basically Darth Vader at this point. Look at this. Bzz. Now, we need to do the same thing. Let's cast some Lava Bursts, okay? We're going to get a Lava Surge proc. Here it is. Chain Harvest must be cast on cooldown in order to maintain this guy. Couple more Lava Bursts just to make sure that he stays up. You don't want to lose this buff, right? His ability's back. We're going to press it. Okay. He's almost back off cooldown. He's back off cooldown. We're pressing him again to extend him back to Chain Harvest. This is the combo that we're looking at, okay? Now, this fight's lasted pretty long. Like, your average pack isn't going to last this long, and I understand that. But I just wanted to really show you guys how to make this work. This is only on 4 targets. We're doing 21k, like, sustained AoE on 4 targets, which is insane. Chain Harvest is coming back. All you have to do to make this work is to put 1 additional Flame Shock out after your Chain Harvest Flame Shocks disappear, and you have to cast Lava Burst maybe 4 or 5 times. That's how this works, okay? I'll do one more Stormkeeper. There we go. Boom. That's how it works. There you go. That's the buff. And he's going to be up for a while. Like, I don't know. We were doing about 21k. Remember 21k. Let's just see how long he lasts for. I don't have a timer on him because he's a primal guy. I need some add-on to show me this. He doesn't have like a... He's just going to keep going. So you see our 20 stacks of Wind Gust. They're up here. There. Oh, is he gone? He's not gone yet. Remember, 21k was the damage that we did. Like, this is how long he lasts for. Once you get that first chain effect happening, once you get all the way around the horn and you get to press Storm Elemental one more time, you get an additional 44 seconds, which is like more than enough time to make the chain happen almost permanently. Look at there, he finally left. He finally left us there. Look at how long he was up for. This is Wind Gust. This is his ability that he casts. He was up for 3 minutes straight, guys. 3 minutes and 3 seconds. That's how long he was up. So, like, that's what you get with this build. And remember, we did 21k sustained AoE. Let's look at the breakdown of the damage here. Earthquake, of course, going to be number 1 because we're just casting it all the time. And then the chain lightnings are coming in, and there's the Eye of the Storm. I could have cast that once or twice even more while I was waiting for him to go off cooldown. But here's how this build essentially works. You must cast Chain Harvest on cooldown because the Flame Shocks is what gets you the most cooldown reduction possible for your Storm Ele. On top of that, you must weave in, I would say, 5 Lava Bursts, just for the insurance, to make sure that he's going to stay up for long enough to not, despawn. And then your Flame Shocks will do the rest of the work. During your window, you should also add 1 additional Flame Shock in between Chain Harvest. You're going to start with Chain Harvest. You're going to do your combo. You're going to Lava Burst like 5 times. Your Flame Shocks are going to fall off after 18 seconds. You're going to reapply 1 Flame Shock, and then that's it. You're going to get to cast Chain Harvest again. All those Flame Shocks are going to reduce the cooldown of your Elemental enough to get you all the way home. And then you press Storm Elemental again, and you're off to the races. You're off to the races, guys. It's perfect. So that's the AoE portion of the Venthyr build and why I think it's a lot better than the Night Fae one. So let's look at the single target. But yeah, I don't think I have any more notes for the... So that's Skybreakers. You have to use Skybreakers for that. And this is, I think, the power of Skybreakers is that it's going to get you the permanent Ele. I think that this is legitimately something you could try to do in a Mythic Plus dungeon. I mean, certainly with the affixes that we were talking about, like the affix that gets you 200% cooldown reduction, you could easily run this build or maybe the Night Fae build and get that cooldown reduction and then get your Storm Elemental back. But as far as permanent Ele uptime, I really do think you have to run Skybreakers to accomplish that. So that's how you do it, though. That's how it's accomplished. Let's look at the single target really quick, and then we're going to jump out of this video. Okay? This is already getting long enough. So same thing. We're going to go Stormkeeper into Chain Harvest into Storm Elemental. Calm down, dude. All these mages are turning into friggin' undead dudes. We're going to cheat a little bit at the beginning of this fight just because of the Chain Harvest. I can't really help that. Most boss fights, every single boss fight in Mythic Plus will have cleave targets on it in moving into Season 3. So it might not be such a bad thing. But anyway, Stormkeeper, Chain Harvest, Storm Ele. Oh, I just pressed the wrong button. I've already messed it up like 15 times. Press Lava Burst. Let's get Lightning Bolt going, of course, but we're going to press Lava Burst if we get a Lava Surge proc. Because we need to extend our Ele. We need to extend our Ele. We're not going to get the same kind of cooldown reduction on Chain Harvest or on our Ele because we don't have multiple Flame Shocks out. Oh my god, I keep moving. It's my fault, guys. I'm sorry. So we do need to press every single Lava Burst that we can in order to keep this guy up. Don't want to lose him. Chain Harvest is coming back. Lightning Bolt's starting to get real quick. Here comes Chain Harvest into Earth Shock. His ability is coming up. We're going to press it. 3, 2, 1. Press it. If we get a Lava Surge proc, we're pressing it. Now we're into the good stuff. You can see our Lightning Bolts are really quick now. 15, 14, 13. Look at the cooldown. 10, 9. Press him, press him, press him. There, we got him. We got him. We just pressed him again. So now we can sort of... we don't have to cool it on the Lava Burst. I think we should still press them whenever they're up. But we don't have to stress quite as much because we got all the way around the horn. We did it. We sort of accomplished our goal there. You can see we're getting close to 10k single target. I'm playing this extremely poorly, so you'll be able to do even more damage, I'm sure. Look at how quick this goes, though. Boom, 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 boom. It's so fast. Can't even hit my trinket. Make sure to press every Lava Surge proc that you get. Our Flame Shock fell off. That's okay. Press it once, and then Chain Harvest will get it back for us again. Chain Harvest again. We're above 10k now. This is single target. This is probably what you're able to do, right? His cooldown's coming back in 15 seconds. We'll do one more round of pressing our Storm Ele, and then we're going to be done. You can see just how this works. There we go. Let's press him. There we go. That's it. He's up. He's up for good. So that's the build in a nutshell. It's really hard to keep track of everything once you start zooming. Like, you're absolutely zooming. You're just Darth Vader. This is the Darth Vader build. Look at this. Bzzz. It's super cool. Like, I love it. Love this build. The damage is exceptional. I do think, though, if you're going to run... Well, let me get to that in a second. Let's just run over here. Let's look at the damage breakdown. Well, I gotta desummon him. He's going to be up for like another minute straight. So in that one, we look at Wind Gust. It was, again, 97%. He's up for the entire fight, right? So Fireheart is also... Fireheart's the buff that you're going to get. You know, he's up forever. So Lightning Bolt is going to be your main one. You're going to get lots of procs on that. One thing that's really cool about going Venthyr is that you can run, of course, Theatar. And I wasn't even running him, unfortunately. I was running Nadia. I should have been running Theatar, but anyway, it doesn't even matter. That would have been even better. But Theatar gets you the Mastery, 550 Mastery, Soothing Shade. So that would have made all those Lightning Bolts that I was firing, they would have done even more damage because we would have got Lightning Bolt Overload. Which is somewhere. Does it just count it as a part of Lightning Bolt? Wait. Does Lightning Bolt not have a chance to overload? Am I insane? Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst, there it is. Anyway, I don't know why it's not really showing it here, but the point is, more mastery equals more chances to proc elemental overload. So, what's this guy saying? Just gonna mention the... Oh, I see. No problem, no problem. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's break down both builds really quickly. So if you go Night Fae with the EQ, the Earthquake Legendary, I just think it's going to be really awkward. I think that you're not going to be able to maintain permanent uptime on Storm Ele. And if you don't want to, that's fine. If you just want him like every other pack, that's fine. But then you have to restart the engine on your cast speed buff, which I think is like destroys the entire point of moving into 9.2. I think that there's so many cool things we can do with Storm Ele now moving into 9.2. But I don't think that Night Fae plus the Earthquake Leggo is the way to do it. So I do think that you need to go Venthyr plus Skybreakers is the way to get a permanent Storm Ele. All those Flame Shocks are going to give you cooldown reduction, and you're going to have him up all the time. In the middle of your AoE window, you'll need to refresh one of your Flame Shocks, and you'll need to press Lava Burst at least 5 to 7 times, I would say, just to extend your Ele a little bit so that you can get all the way around the horn and press him again. And if you do that, you'll have permanent Ele, and I think you can honestly carry that from pack to pack to pack as long as your tank isn't too slow at pulling stuff. Like, that's going to be obviously part of it. But I do think that this is possible now. It is possible for us to maintain a 20 stack buff for Chain Lightning and for Lightning Bolt, and it's super, super powerful. It's even easier to pull off in single target because you want to press Lava Burst anyway. Yeah, that's it, guys. I think that this is fantastic. I think that the damage is respectable. It's really good on the AoE pack. What was the Venthyr damage we were doing there? Was it this one? It was one of these two. We were doing like 21k, right? I told you to remember 21k. That's what we were pulling off. So I think the damage is even better than the Earthquake Legendary. I think if you go Venthyr, it's actually just better. Because you get all this Flame Shock damage, and it crits all the time, and you get the Chain Harvest cooldown as well, and it does a lot of damage by itself. So I do think that the Venthyr is just the way to go. I think it's just better in general than the Night Fae build. So that's it, guys. That's Storm Ele. And it's great. I think it's another build that Elemental Shamans can go. I do think, just comparing it to the Fire Elemental side, I think that Storm Elemental is much more difficult to execute in a real live Mythic Plus scenario when you've got Fortified, Quaking, maybe you've got Volcanic under your feet, maybe you have to stop for like 1 or 2 GCDs for the Quaking effect, right? Maybe you've got real mechanics in a boss fight you have to dodge. Maybe you're getting stunned by an enemy, and so you're losing uptime on your casts. There's so many things that happen in the Mythic Plus environment that can screw up your pattern and make it so that it's very difficult to execute your already difficult to execute build. This build is like right on the borderline. You have to play this very, very well to get the permanent Ele uptime. And if you get interrupted for like the first 20 seconds of your rotation while you're trying to pull this off, I think there's a really good chance that you might not be able to get a permanent Ele. So the ease of execution is something you always have to think about when you're in Mythic Plus, and I think it's much, much harder. The burden is on the players who want to run Storm Elemental. The burden is on you guys to make this work. And I don't think it's impossible. It's just going to be much more difficult on the Fire build, which is largely passive. If you get stunned, if you have to stop for 1 or 2 GCDs to do a mechanic, you can just press one of your Lava Burst, your globals that has the Lava Surge proc, and your flame shocks are doing so much damage on their own anyway. They last twice as long with the Fire Ele. They have 50% more crit. They're keeping him up permanently all by themselves. You don't have to weave in any extra lava bursts to keep up the fire elemental. The flame shocks do all the work on their own, keeping him up permanently. And so it's just much more passive. It's easier. And the cooldown, I think, of your Chain Harvest comes back much more quickly with the Fire build because your Flame Shocks last longer and they're critting more often, and so they're getting the cooldown more. So it's like just all these little things make the Fire build easier to execute, which in a live Mythic Plus environment, I think could translate into more damage, or at least the equivalent amount of damage as the Storm Elemental one, which I would argue is much more difficult to pull off. It's not that it can't be pulled off, and if you can pull it off, then the damage is going to be awesome. So that's my synopsis of the two builds. That's Storm Elemental in a nutshell. It's looking like it's going to be awesome. If they keep it like this moving into 9.2, you will be able to have a permanent Storm Ele. So there you go, guys. Those are the builds. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for the likes and for the subscriptions. Thank you for all the discussions that we're having. I really do appreciate all you guys commenting and us having the discussions. Let's keep those going in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.